This ski slope in the heart of Copenhagen is for more than just recreation. It sits upon the roof of a modern waste-to-energy power plant. That power plant produces electricity that is fed back into the grid, as well as heating about 72,000 homes in the nearby community. The plant is so effective that they soon plan to import nearly half the trash that they turn into energy. It's not only economical, it's also considerate of the nearby environment. They use ARC filters as well as catalytic reduction to reduce pollution going into the atmosphere. And the power plant produces ash, a fraction of the mass of the original waste that comes into the facility. They then put this ash into landfill. As global populations rise and waste is being produced at larger rates than ever before, we can't continue to rely on landfill as we historically have. Just taking all the waste that we continually produce and hiding it somewhere else will no longer work for much longer. Traditional resources are running out, and while renewable resources are very effective, they do have limitations, such as needing areas with lots of sun and land for solar power, lots of wind and land for wind power. Everywhere with people produces waste. So waste energy technology definitely has a place in our growing world. Currently, about half of the waste that we produce goes straight to landfill, and then about 25% recycled, and the other small amount is turned into energy or composted to be used. Landfill is a terrible solution. It doesn't produce anything such as energy for society. It is expensive to maintain and transport to landfill and dig up and put in there. It also has potential to pollute groundwater. It takes you have to put some type of layer underneath, like clay, to reduce the pollution in the groundwater, and still often happens. Also, it can pollute methane into the atmosphere. Oftentimes there's a clay cap that's put over the top, which is very expensive and difficult to do, and still methane often leaks into the atmosphere. And it takes up lots of land that can be used for other things. Meanwhile, waste-to-energy technology is not only inexpensive, it produces money and is far more environmentally friendly than landfill. The energy that is produced from waste energy technology it can be found in the form of electricity to power homes and industry, or heat for communities, or even for biofuels. Waste from ranches and farms, such as animal waste, is great for producing these biofuels. Residential trash and industrial waste is also great for producing energy and waste energy technology. Sulfur dioxide is a harmful greenhouse gas. It also harms the respiratory systems of humans and animals. Two large producers of SO2, sulfur dioxide, are diesel fuel and landfill. Both of these can be greatly reduced or removed with waste energy technology. Waste energy technology combines both energy production or fuel production and waste disposal. So while waste energy technology will still produce some pollutants, it will be less overall because it's combining two different harmful practices. Waste energy technology is sustainable comparatively because it decreases dependence on non-renewable fuels and it decreases dependence on landfill. But it is important to note that it's not perfect. Such as with biogas, from anaerobic digestion, lots of methane is produced. Actually, the more efficient the fuel is, the more methane there is produced. And so while waste energy will marginally lower the net production of certain pollutants, it still requires research to become more environmentally friendly. But it combines these two practices into one in a sort of two birds with one stone method that is more environmentally friendly overall than our current practices. This table shows projections for the year 2050 in the US. According to the one on the left, by the year 2050, the US will have the capacity to produce 11.3 billion gallons of gasoline equivalency in waste energy fuels. Currently, the US produces 142 billion gallons of gasoline. The US uses 142 billion gallons of gasoline. That means that waste has the potential to produce the equivalency of 7.9% of the US's gasoline. It would be a biofuel, but currently we just get rid of all those resources that have the potential to fuel about 7.9% of our transportation and other things that we use gasoline for. Economics. With waste energy technology, if we produced a power plant of waste energy technology, we would have the capability to actually make money from getting rid of our waste and producing electricity, two things which currently cost us lots and lots of money, but we could actually make money if we imported trash from other areas. It also decreases dependence on imported energy from other places that we would be paying for. It's important to note that natural gas is currently a very large competitor with waste to energy technology. Natural gas is very inexpensive to produce and relatively harmless to the environment. So waste energy technology will need to achieve economies of scale to be competitive with natural gas. And I believe that waste energy technology has certain advantages over natural gas, such as getting rid of waste and environmental benefits. So the government should put subsidies on waste energy technology to allow it to achieve those economies of scale and be competitive with natural gas. Of course, recycling and reuse and reduction are ideal for the environment over waste to energy technology. It is important to reduce our use and our waste as much as possible, reuse things as much as possible, and recycle as much as possible. Anything that goes to a waste energy plant should be sorted through recycling first. The reality is that economic incentives are very important to put any new practice or technology in place, and reduction and reuse don't really have economic incentives. Recycling does, and I advocate that everything goes through recycling first. But waste energy technology does have these economic incentives, but it needs to achieve those economies of scale. So I believe that waste energy technology should be subsidized to then be able to be competitive in the current market and fix these environmental issues. Waste energy technology is recommended over landfill. Waste energy technology should receive subsidies that allow it to be economically competitive and achieve economies of scale. The technology will then have positive environmental and economic returns to society. Thank you.